we traveled to poker tournaments together. And as you probably know, Fedor got super successful around 2013. He suddenly had some insane scores, played some high rollers, and this is how we kind of got more motivated too, right? I mean, I was still a student at university at the time, and I played some low stakes online tournaments, but I don't know, 2-3 times a week, nothing insane. And that's when I started playing some live tournaments as well. I remember we went to Cyprus, for instance, where I was with you last week. That was kind of my first live poker trip in 2013, and then we went to the Caribbean later that year, stuff like that. So I got a little more into it, but I still was kind of playing low stakes, mid stakes until around 2015-ish, I want to say. Like 2014, 2015 was when I first moved in with other poker players instead of living with like my friends from university. That's where I kind of shifted. I decided to go more into poker instead of pursuing my studies more. Like, yeah, that's like 2014, 2015.
Yeah.
But still playing mid stakes, and around that time, heading into 2016, I first had some kind of bigger scores online as well. I don't know, but my bankroll is still like super low. I mean, I don't remember specifically, but nothing big. And then 2016 was pretty much the breakthrough year for me. I had some scores growing up, and I actually played my first 10K this year in Monaco. I remember that EPT 2016. I played my first 10K. That wasn't the WSOP Main, that one I had played before. But other than that, first 10K in like May 2016. I had some other deep runs, and then exactly that tournament. And like a month after playing my first 10K, I played my first 100K. That was the one drop where I obviously sold a lot of action, but that was kind of quick, going from playing like mid stakes online until like the high stakes. That was within a few weeks, basically.
Sitting down at your first 100K with what was that like?
Yeah, it was a super crazy summer. I mean, as I said, I had some success this year, and then at the WSOP, I kind of ran deep in a lot of tournaments. I think I had like final 2-table thing before where I got like 12th or something, so no big score yet. But then this one, the summer solstice one, was the first like super big score where I actually chopped with Adrian, who was kind of, of course, a friend by now, but that was the first time I really got to know him. This was my first super big score. And then I think I final tabled another event at the Venetian or something. Yeah, this deep stack thing there where I got 7th. And I was playing very well. And then some friends suggested, dude, why not play the 100K? I mean, they said they're sure that I'm going to beat the field. So I sold a lot of action for that. Did play, and somehow it was interesting. I was a short stack until day 3, basically. I think the first day I finished with, I don't know, 40,000-ish, I think. So 60,000 starting stack, like less than starting stack, half the starting stack.
Yeah.
And I played a kind of a big hand. I mean, I've told that before, so I don't want to get like too much into it, but I folded a straight. Or I folded, what was it? Oh, damn. I think it was Jack 8 6-5 or whatever, and I folded the 7-4, where I thought my opponent had a bigger hand, very likely, and so I folded on the turn to a 3-bet, and it ended up being the correct fold because she had the 10-9, the nut straight, and that was kind of the key hand in a way, I guess. I mean, of course, again, there's variance. I could have been wrong or whatever. But with me ending up winning that tournament, that hand kind of felt like the early key hand. And I remember after the day, I was kind of happy, although I had a bad day, because I kind of felt like I was free rolling in a way, because usually I was supposed to be out in that hand, but I I remember being proud of myself for making that fold early in a tournament for the reasons we just talked about before.
Yeah.
So that was a big turning point in a way. Second day wasn't great either. I finished with, I don't know, 30K, and then day 3 it went up, and from that, just every day was good basically. Day 3 I already had a big stack. Then I got like a few presents, and in a way I won some big hands to double twice, and from then on I had a big stack. Going into the bubble I had a big stack, and I think from day 5 on I was pretty much chip leader all the way, which is insane for a tournament. This doesn't usually happen like that. I also was only all in for my tournament life once. This was on day 2. One mistake that has to be avoided is playing too careful, because if you think you have an edge, if you just fold every close spot all the time, you're not gonna make it. You're just gonna blind out at some point. So it's kind of, you have to find the right balance. And I mean, me winning the main event now doesn't make me the biggest main event expert in the world now. So I mean,
You're maybe not the biggest. You're the reigning. You're the
just my
reigning.
opinion. Yeah, I know, but it's still kind of just my opinion, I guess. I know there are some really good players that would say they're just going to play the same. They will just take all the chip EV spots, and I guess they will have a bigger stack more often than me. But I kind of like preserve my tournament life a little bit more, I guess, in the early days. But giving like a percentage is kind of tough if you're willing to go to take like a 60-40 early in the main, for instance, or like where the line is it at like 65-35? Right. I don't know. I would probably take a 65% to double up first hand, but it's right. It's tough to say really, and it's also I guess kind of tough to do the math, because nobody really knows how big the ROI is. There's like, people have very different thoughts about that. I mean, I know that some people bought players for like 4.5 markup in the main.
Wow.
And then there are players who said nobody has an ROI higher than 200%. So it's very different what people think, even like the brightest minds in poker.
What are some things you do to try to shift your mind or stay positive?
No, it's definitely like one of the biggest, if not the biggest challenge as a tournament poker professional, to deal with that, to deal with the mental side of things. It's not easy, especially if you're playing like too high, I guess, because I mean, even as a super good poker player, I mean, I don't have to tell most of you guys, I guess, if you run bad, you're gonna run bad, and you're not gonna cash, and it's gonna happen at some point. So yeah, always try to improve, I guess. I guess one of the key factors is don't play too high. I mean, if you realize it's gonna hurt your mental health, you're feeling sad or whatever, then don't play as high, and because that's a problem. It shouldn't happen. Of course, it's not gonna feel great if in a downswing, but it shouldn't, like, yeah, you shouldn't get depressed by it, and then that's definitely a sign that you've played too high or too much or whatever. So yeah, I try to remind myself that variance is involved, but in both ways, right? That's important, even if it's going well, and you have to remind yourself, probably I was running good as well. So yeah, always try to improve, always question it, and look at the bigger picture, right? I mean, if you look at like a couple thousand tournaments or whatever online, then it would be good if the overall graph goes up at some point. If it doesn't, maybe it's not the right thing. But yeah, variance is just a huge thing. Even people that know about variance still sometimes underestimate it, in my opinion.
What was your family's sort of reaction at this point? Was just like, would they ever say like, be careful, or going to casino, don't do this? Was that sort of how they looked at it? Or was it almost just like, no, this is entertainment, we trust you, don't worry, have fun? Or what was their sort of outlook on poker early on when you were playing a bit?
No, I mean, they didn't like it too much. I mean, of course, in like when I was like 17 or something, and when it was a hobby, they just didn't mind it. But it was just a hobby. But when I started traveling a little more for poker tournaments instead of going to university and doing like a regular, normal, good thing, I guess. They didn't like it. My parents are both like, I don't know, doing social stuff more. They're social workers, and they don't know anything about the poker world. So it was completely new and foreign for them. And yeah, it took some time until they kind of understood what was going on. And I mean, now I guess my dad thinks it's kind of cool, of course, that I won the world championship, if you want to call it that, and stuff. But at first they didn't really like it. No.